Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode and a new podcast brand. This is the perfect time to shift gears here, friends. Ever since Charlie Kirk, I feel like I've been a brand new person. I've been working on this podcast rebrand here for a while as well. I noticed myself getting caught up in things that I actually had no control over. And while it is very, very important to talk about things that are going on in the world, to share truth, there are just so many creators out there right now blackpilling people. They're blackpilling them, they're not helping them, and we're leading more people into darkness in pursuit of the truth. I think you know what I'm talking about here. People caught in the comment section, people caught in fear, people caught in distraction. They're not building, they're not taking care of themselves. And I just really refuse to participate in that. We've rebranded. We want to talk about sovereign spheres, positive spheres of influence in your life. We'll still talk about truth. We'll still talk about this crazy world. But more importantly, we're going to have a focus on solutions. What can you practically do about all the things that are going on right now? Today, I want to talk to you about controlling the controllables. How do you find peace in this upside down world? Because personally, I think it's going to get bumpier before it gets better. This is a topic that everyone needs to hear, whether you are a parent or an entrepreneur or just a critically thinking human. As the world gets more and more complex and chaotic, we are going to be bombarded more with things that are simply out of our control. The economy, algorithms, government policies, not to mention other people's opinions and other random world events that are going to continue to blindside us. And if we're honest, most of us waste a ton of energy worrying, stressing, and spinning about things that are out of our control. I mean, go look at your screen time. I looked at mine this morning. Horrific. But here's the truth, peace, freedom, and resilience come from learning to control the controllables. So today we're unpacking what the ancient Stoics taught us about control. And we're also going to talk about how modern psychology has expanded on this model, this way of thinking with the circle of influence. I'm going to be giving you real life examples of how this works and practical tools so you can use this theory today to stop wasting your energy on what you can't change, so that you can start living with more power, calm, and focus. So you can become a builder, a leader. That's what we need you to do right now. Let's start with the great Stoic Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. When you realize this, you're going to find your real strength. One of the most important, if not most important practices of Stoic philosophy is this understanding that there is very little within the reach of our control. Almost everything that goes on around us will happen despite our efforts to stop it. And it's up to us to come to terms with the things that we can change and the things that we can't. Marcus Aurelius points out that we really only have control over the workings of our mind, our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions. And when we focus our effort here, we become resilient, responsible, effective, and we work toward mastering our inner world. And in doing so, we learn to master how we respond to the outer world, often for the better. Notice you didn't hear the words giving up or nihilism. That is not what we're talking about here. When we focus on outside events, we're spending our time and energy trying to control the things in life we don't have full control over. And in doing so, we really just risk becoming frustrated, ineffective, and our well-being becomes less stable. I mean, who has felt burnt out in the last few years? On the same topic, the Stoic philosopher, I'm going to butcher his name here, guys, Epictetus said, working within our sphere of control, we are naturally free, independent, and strong. Beyond that sphere, we are weak, limited, and dependent. If you pin your hopes on things outside your control, taking upon yourself things which rightfully belong to others, you are liable to stumble, fall, suffer, and blame both gods and men. Within our power, our thoughts, our emotions, our interpretations, our actions. Outsider power, the weather, the economy, other people's feelings about us, random events of life. Like, it's simple, right? But think about it. How much of your mental energy yesterday was spent stressing about things that you cannot control? A client ghosting you, what someone said about you online, the recent election, even the algorithm. The Stoics knew happiness and freedom begins with this understanding: what's mine to own and what's not. And when you finally stop fighting battles you can't win, you reclaim your energy for the battles that you can. Now, modern psychology, they added in another sphere. They added in the gray zone. So if we fast forward a couple thousand years, psychologists expanded on this model. They said, yeah, there's things that we can control, and yes, there's what we can't control, but there's actually something in between. And this is your sphere of influence. This is a gray zone. You can't control whether or not someone hires you, but you can influence it by showing up more prepared, positioning your expertise, and delivering massive value. You can't control whether people like your Instagram posts, but you can influence your reach by crafting stronger hooks, using better visuals, and engaging with your audience more. You can't control the economy, but you can influence your family's financial resilience by diversifying your income streams, saving more, and building sovereignty into your business plan. This gray zone is where your actions ripple outward. You don't control outcomes, but you control effort, preparation, and positioning. And if you show up consistently, if you show up in this sphere more, your influence expands. I think of all the amazing people that I've gotten to collaborate with over the last 5 years with this podcast, linking arms with leaders and truth tellers and people that aren't complaining. They're doing the work, they're doing things to create change. Now, if we zoom out to an even larger circle, well, now we have the circle of concern. This is everything that we care about but cannot control: the economy, weather, opinions, world events, and this is where anxiety, rumination, and wasted energy live. We don't stop caring about these things, but we stop believing that we can control them, because this is actually where we suffer. William Irving said it best: the circle of control is not detachment or indifference. It's focusing our attention and energy on what really matters so we can live more fully and authentically. If you want resilience, stop trying to micromanage God's domain. Let me bring this home with a few stories for you guys. So let's say you're applying for a new job. You can't control the manager on duty or the competition, but you can control: are you rested? Are you prepared? And how are you presenting yourself? That's where your focus should belong. Let's say you're a burnt out teacher. Maybe we're teaching adults, maybe we're teaching kids. You can't control kids' behavior or students' behavior. I have a friend that teaches like adult ed, but you can control your attitude, your teaching style, and your responses by shifting the focus inward, paying attention to your energy, how you own the room. You're going to find more peace. You can't always change the behavior, but if you can, it's only by this mechanism. Or let's say you're sick, you're battling an illness right now. You can't control whether or not you're sick or not sick, but you can control what you eat, how you move, and your mindset. By doing so, you're going to rebuild a sense of power in your body again. This shift is going to come when you realize that your energy belongs in your circle of control, not your circle of concern. So how do you actually practically apply this? I want you to doodle today. Get a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to draw 3 circles: big circle, and then a medium one inside of that circle, and a smaller one right in the middle. I want you to put everything that you're worried about currently in that big circle. And then I want you to take the things that you might be able to influence, put it in the middle circle. And then I want you to take that teeny little circle and write what you can actually control, put that right smack in the middle. That circle is going to be so tiny, guys. Remember, what's actually under our control is actually so teeny. Even something like losing weight. Losing weight is not under your control. It's not. How many steps you take, whether or not you measure your food, how many hours you slept. That's within your control. Losing weight is not. We need more leaders right now. We need more people with a growth mindset who are able to look at these obstacles that we're facing right now and actually reframe them as opportunities. Ryan Holiday says the obstacle is the way. We're not going to be able to face all these obstacles if we are overwhelmed and anxious and stressed. And that will happen if you are constantly spending your energy on the things that you cannot control. When life feels chaotic, write down 3 things that you can actually control today. Gratitude also shifts your nervous system into a calm state. It turns your prefrontal cortex on so you can actually make better decisions, and it anchors you in what's real right now. These tools, they don't just reduce stress, they build resilience, confidence, clarity. Again, it literally turns your brain on when your nervous system is regulated. Let me leave you with this. If you're exhausted, overwhelmed, or anxious right now, it's not because you're weak. It's because you're burning your energy in the wrong circle. Your energy, your bucket, it's finite. We don't have an infinite bucket of energy. We have to use it wisely. We need blinders on. Imagine what would happen if you reclaim that energy and you focused on what you can actually move, shift, and change. Your circle of control is small, but it's powerful. And when you master it, your influence grows. And as your influence grows, you create impact far beyond yourself. So today, let's let go of what's outside your hands and anchor into what is. Freedom comes from controlling the controllables. Guys, if this short episode here encouraged you, share it with a friend who needs it. The best way to help us grow is to like, comment, share. These really simple actions help us a lot. If you want bonus materials, if you want to support my work, I'll have the link for Substack in the comments. But for now, stay focused, stay free, and keep moving towards what actually matters in this upside down world. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.